Yeah, I just didn't see a future. I wasn't happy.
Why can't you be friends? Why can't you be buddies?
Yeah.
Why couldn't you have a relationship with them again?
Friends, it's me, Meerab, welcoming you once again to Starspill USA today. What I bring before you is not just a story, it is a storm of truth, betrayal, and emotion. The walls of silence have cracked, secrets are spilling, and what we uncover? Together will shake the very foundation of the Brown family. So sit with me, feel every word, and step into a tale that reality itself could not hide any longer. The wooden doors of the courthouse groaned on their hinges, as if protesting the secrets about to be unleashed. For a brief, suspended moment, time itself seemed to hesitate. The air inside was thick with tension, the kind of silence that thrums with power, waiting to explode. Hands clenched the railings of benches. Cameras were raised, lenses snapping. In anticipation, whispers drifted like restless shadows, curling through the room with a sense of foreboding. Everyone believed they knew the story of the sister wives, the tale of 4 wives and the man who ruled over them with a firm hand. Cody Brown, charismatic, controlling, and ever the master of spectacle. Yet none of them had ever imagined the truth lurking in the shadows. A 5th wife, hidden, unheard of, unseen. Until today, her heels struck the courtroom floor like gunshots, each step deliberate, a heartbeat of authority. She was tall, poised, and resolute, gaze sharp enough to pierce stone. There was no hesitation in her movement, no tremor in her composure. She was a storm contained within human form, dressed in black, not mourning, but a color of war. Her attire was plain, stripped of all ornamentation, a silent declaration. She had come not for decoration, but for confrontation. Cody Brown's face drained of color. He had been seated with his usual air of confidence, arm casually draped. Across Robin's chair, radiating the smug self-assurance of a man untouchable. But the instant his eyes met hers, that facade crumbled. His jaw tightened, his eyes darted. And for the first time in years, perhaps decades, he looked like a man trapped, caught in the inescapable grasp of truth. Robin, ever the loyal soldier at his side, whispered in urgent panic, "Cody, is she? What's happening?" He did not answer, could not answer. His silence roared louder than any confession. The bailiff called for order, his voice slicing through the murmur. The judge, a man whose face bore the carved lines of years, spent witnessing deception, raised his gavel. "Court is in session," he declared, a tone so firm it brooked no misinterpretation. And then came the moment that would etch itself into infamy. The woman lifted her chin, her eyes blazing. Her voice, calm yet cutting, resonated across the room. "Your Honor, my name is Hannah, and I am Cody Brown's 5th wife." Pandemonium erupted. Gasps collided with shouts. Cameras clicked like a furious storm. Reporters scribbled furiously, some staggering back in disbelief. The court clerk froze as if she had witnessed a bomb detonate in slow motion. Cody pounded the table, his voice cracking. "That's a lie." The judge's gavel slammed down. "Order, order in this court." Hannah did not flinch. She stood tall, hands steady, gaze unwavering. The storm was hers to command. "For years," she said, each word deliberate, "he kept me hidden. I was the wife no one was allowed to meet. He promised love, family forever, but all he built was an empire of deceit. Today, I tell the truth." Eyes widened. Christine, sitting in the rear, leaned forward, recognition sharp and sudden. Mary crossed her arms, murmuring under her breath, "I knew it. I knew there was more." Janelle sat frozen, lips parted, words failing her. Robin's face paled to ghostly white as she gripped the armrest of her chair. "Cody, this can't be true," she whispered, almost inaudibly. He did not respond. He could only watch. The judge, adjusting his spectacles, asked Miss Hannah, "Are you here today as a witness?" "Your Honor." Hannah replied, eyes steady, voice firm. I am here as the truth Cody Brown tried to bury from this court and the world. The gallery shifted uneasily, hungry for the revelations to come. And what Hannah carried was more than fury, it was evidence. The bailiff brought forward a thick, weighty file, clipped and brimming with secrets. Hannah placed it on the desk, with a resonant thud making Cody flinch. These documents, she continued, voice low but firm, contain the facts of my marriage to Cody Brown. Evidence of his promises, his betrayals, and the deception not only to me, but to every woman who ever trusted him. Reporters, nearly, toppled over themselves to record every word. Juan muttered, aghast. This is bigger than the divorce papers. Bigger than the money. This changes everything. Cody's lawyer leaped up, shouting, Your Honor, this is outrageous. This so-called fifth wife is a fraud seeking attention. The judge cut him off with a calm authority. Sit down, counselor. We'll hear her. She deceives this court. It will become apparent in due time. Cody slumped, sweat glistening on his forehead. For a man who thrived on control, he now resembled a king watching his castle crumble. Hannah's voice grew steadier, bearing the weight of years silenced. You tried to bury me, Cody. You thought you could hide me from the world. But truth has a way of finding the light. The courtroom murmured in anticipation. Even those who had once supported Cody exchanged glances heavy with doubt. Hannah was far from finished. The oath was taken. The Bible snapped shut. She rested her hands on the file again. This isn't revenge, she said, her words sharp and unwavering. This is justice for me, for the women he has harmed, and for the truth denied too long. Cody, finally breaking his silence, sneered. You are nothing. You don't matter. Hannah's response was a cold, controlled smile, the kind that told the world she had already won. I don't matter, Cody. Why are you so afraid? The courtroom held its breath. Hannah's calm was terrifying. Her next words promised storms yet to come. My history with Cody Brown began long before any of you ever saw him on television. The jurors leaned forward. The gallery was silent. Even the judge's curiosity sharpened. Cody tried to mask his panic, massaging his hands beneath the table. Robin whispered into his ear, but he said nothing. Silence, louder than any cry, spoke volumes. Hannah painted the story of their first meeting. The subtle seduction of promises, the golden words that had drawn her in. He promised me love. Without end, she said, locking eyes with him. He told me God guided him to me. Mary muttered, shaking her head. The same lines. The same lines he used on me. Christine folded her arms tightly, lips pursed, every word confirming suspicions she had long carried. Hannah's voice did not waver as she described how she had been hidden away, never introduced to the extended family, never seen at gatherings, never photographed. The world would not know, she testified. He said it was for protection. But whose protection? Mine or his control? Gasps ran through the room. Then came the revelation that made the courtroom almost collapse in shock. I wasn't merely his mistress. I was his wife, legally, formally, fully. A ceremony private, yes, but binding. Photographs emerged, a living room clasped hands, a minister between them. No cameras, no television, just a private union. The judge scrutinized them, eyes flashing between Cody and Hannah. This will be entered into evidence, he declared. Hannah did not stop there. She displayed bank statements, contracts, deeds, all bearing her name alongside Cody's, each signed, each undeniable. These are facts, she said. If they were forged, why do his initials appear beneath mine on every page? The jury shifted uncomfortably. The truth was undeniable. Cody's empire of charm and manipulation now lay exposed. Finally, she produced a yellowed, folded letter, the one that made the courtroom collectively gasp. Handling it with reverence, she held it as both shield and weapon. This, she said, voice low but powerful, is only the beginning. Silence descended like a heavy blanket. Hannah's calm, measured presence was terrifying in its certainty. She had not yet revealed the full storm she had come to unleash. But the weight of her words told everyone in that room that the Brown family drama they thought they knew had only just begun to unravel.
But it's like literally the other wives got 1 day, 2 days out of a month. It was ridiculous.
There was definitely a month where
This, Hannah said, lifting a tattered, dog-eared piece of paper, is a letter Cody wrote to me. His words, his vows, lies, his promises. She unfolded it slowly, deliberately, letting the courtroom hang on every subtle motion. Her voice rang out, clear and unwavering, slicing through the tense, electric silence like a blade. My beautiful Hannah, I vow to you this life, even if the world does not ever know of us. You are mine before God, and one day I will see to it that the family welcomes you too. But till then, have faith in me. Have faith in my vision, and know that you are my forever companion. The moment the words left her lips, the room convulsed. Gasps collided with whispered murmurs. Photographers teetered on their chairs, snapping frantically as flashes lit up every corner. Even the judge's stony, impassive face betrayed a hint of surprise. Cody pounded his fist against the wooden table. That's private. Or that's not. For anyone to see. His voice cracked with rage, veins standing out at his temples. The gavel came down like a thunderclap. Silence, Mr. Brown. This court will hear every shred of evidence. Christine shook her head, disbelief and bitter, amusement playing across her features. He used the same words with me. The exact same promises, she whispered. Hannah closed her eyes briefly, a fleeting moment of recognition of the years of manipulation, of the intricate web Cody had spun. Mary stared blankly at the floor, her expression cold and unreadable. Robin's composure crumbled entirely, her lips quivering as tears streaked down her face. He told me I was the last. He said there were no more, she whispered, voice barely audible. The walls of Cody's carefully constructed facade were splintering faster than he could ever repair them. The judge leaned forward, eyes narrowing. Miss Hannah, why are you speaking out now? Hannah's eyes blazed, steady and unflinching. Because he left me with nothing. I trusted him. I trusted the family, the dream, the promises. When I demanded recognition, when I sought even a shred of support, he shut me out. No money, no acknowledgement, no protection. I was disposable, invisible. Until now. Her words struck the courtroom like a bolt of lightning. The jurors nodded slowly. The gallery murmured softly in solidarity. Even the staunchest of Cody's supporters felt the tide of the narrative shift. This was no longer merely about betrayal. This was about accountability, about justice. And Hannah was far from finished. She began to unravel the intricate patterns Cody had tried to disguise for years. Days he claimed were spent in TLC meetings on land deals or attending family business. She revealed they were often spent with her, concealed from the others. He would return and spin stories that never added up, she testified, eyes flashing. And if we challenged him, he called us ungrateful. Christine's attorney scribbled furiously, her pen a blur. Janelle leaned forward, whispering, "That makes sense. That explains why nothing ever added up." The tension in the room thickened, almost tangible. The puzzle pieces, long ignored or forced aside, were finally snapping together. Cody's mask of control and authority was cracking entirely. He slammed his fist on the table again. "You're lying. You're making this up to destroy me." The judge's voice cut through like a whip. "One more outburst, Mr. Brown, and you will be held in contempt." Cody sank back in his seat, defeated and venomous. Hannah, unshaken, regarded him with the calm, steady gaze of a woman who had weathered the worst storms and emerged determined to see the truth prevail. Then she produced the most damning evidence yet, a pile of account records, thick and weighty, filled with betrayal. "These are Cody's financial manipulations," she said, her tone deliberate and firm. "Money from the show, money from land sales, money," he claimed, was lost. "All routed into accounts bearing my name." The jury gasped. The judge's eyes narrowed. Christine sat upright, shock etched in every line of her face. Janelle exhaled slowly, comprehension dawning. Robin's face crumbled, tears streaming freely as she saw the possibility that she, too, had been deceived. Cody sat frozen, color drained from his face, completely wordless. The gavel came down sharply. "This testimony will be heard fully. True, Mr. Brown, this court is not only considering broken promises, but potential fraud." Chaos erupted again. Reporters shouted. Cameras flashed, spectators buzzed with disbelief. And through it all, Hannah remained composed, unwavering. She had done exactly what she came to do. She had brought Cody's secrets into the light. As the court recessed, the media outside had already exploded. Headlines screamed, "Cody Brown's secret fifth wife exposed, hidden marriage, hidden money, hidden lies." Hannah gathered her papers and turned to Cody, her voice cutting with a controlled fury. "This is only the beginning." Cody's face had turned pale as chalk. The session concluded, but the storm had only just begun. The courtroom fell in two, an eerie, almost suffocating silence. Hannah slowly unfolded the letter again. The snapping creases seemed louder than any murmur, louder than the shuffling of papers, louder than Cody's shallow breathing. Her hands were steady, her voice calm and commanding. "My beloved Hannah, I promise you this life, even if the world never knows about us. You belong to me in God's eyes, and soon I'll ensure the family accepts you as well. In the meantime, believe me, believe my vision, and rest assured you are my soulmate forever." The words hung in the air, oppressive and undeniable. Gasps erupted like thunder. Christine sat bolt upright, bitter recognition contorting her face. Mary shook her head violently, muttering under her breath. Janelle exhaled slowly, decades of unasked questions finally answered. Robin was in pieces. Sobs escaped as she reached toward Cody, desperate for denial, for reassurance, but he could not meet her gaze. His silence was deafening. Cody slammed his fist again, veins prominent. "This is private. You can't use this here." The gavel fell like lightning. "Enough, Mr. Brown. You will remain silent or face contempt of court." Hannah folded the letter carefully, almost reverently, returning it to her file. "That is his handwriting," she said quietly, but with unmistakable authority. "His words, his threats. He can yell, he can rage, but truth does not vanish simply because he is angry." The jury exchanged glances of recognition. They had seen men like Cody before, loud and commanding when cornered, pitiful when exposed. Then the wives began to respond. First quietly, then with a growing collective conviction. Christine whispered, "He told me the same thing. Word for word, eternal partner forever." God's plan. Her attorney scribbled furiously, nodding, with grim acknowledgement. Mary shook her head, bitter tears gleaming. How many times did he repeat those lies? Janelle murmured to her lawyer, "It fits. The funds. Everything makes sense now." Robin was shattered. "Cody, tell me this isn't true," she pleaded, but his silence confirmed the betrayal beyond words. Hannah pressed forward, producing more evidence, bank statements, signed contracts, agreements, all bearing her name. Funds she had been promised. The money supposedly lost or spent elsewhere had been diverted, concealed, manipulated. The jurors leaned forward in anticipation. The judge's expression darkened. Cody's empire, built on charm, deception, and false narratives, was collapsing in plain sight. And then came the most shocking revelation of all. Hannah revealed that she had not been invisible. A handful of witnesses had seen her. A landlord, a pastor, a family friend, all had glimpsed the hidden reality, corroborating her account. Courtroom, once a theater of lies, had become a tribunal of truth. The judge nodded solemnly. Their testimony will be taken into account. Piece by piece, under the weight of undeniable evidence, Cody Brown's carefully constructed world was unraveling. Lies, manipulation, and deceit could no longer shield him. The walls of his empire, once solid and impervious, were now cracking, splintering, collapsing under the force of truth.
It's a very big business in North Carolina, believe it or not. So we want to do flowers and maybe a couple of little cabins that people could stay in and maybe some sort of big...
Cody pounded his hand on the table a third time, muttering curses under his breath. Each outburst only made him appear guiltier, his anger betraying the cracks in his facade. For the first time, Christine spoke aloud, her voice sharp and unwavering, cutting through the charged silence. "Makes sense?" she said, loud enough for the entire courtroom to hear. "This is why he kept accusing us of betraying him. This is why he said we didn't trust him, because he knew he was the one betraying us." Her words were a blade, slicing through Cody's carefully constructed narrative. The jury exchanged glances, then turned to Hannah, whose steady presence only strengthened the credibility of Christine's revelation. Cody's face contorted, torn between rage and desperation, his pride faltering in front of the courtroom. And then Hannah dropped her final bombshell, the one that turned whispers into outright pandemonium. She reached for the last piece of evidence, a contract. She held it aloft, her voice firm, icy yet deliberate. "This is a contract Cody made me sign," she declared. "He said it was for property in Arizona for the family vision on Coyote Pass. But look closely, my name isn't just a witness. I am Conor. He made me a silent partner to control funds and maintain authority over everything." The courtroom needs to see this. The room erupted. Reporters jumped to their feet, shouting questions, cameras flashing wildly. The judge slammed his gavel repeatedly until a tense hush returned. The jury stared at the contract, their expressions grim. This was no longer a matter of lies or hidden marriages. It was fraud, deliberate and methodical. The wives exchanged glances, a silent understanding passing between them. All the unanswered questions, the vanishing funds, the mysteries of missing money, they now had their answer. The judge cleared his throat. This will be thoroughly scrutinized. "If these documents are authentic, Mr. Brown, these tactics are not merely deceptive, they may be criminal." Cody sat frozen, white as a ghost, powerless as the empire he had built began to crumble around him. Hannah moved slowly, deliberately, folding her papers with a calm precision. She looked Cody in the eye. "Lying will destroy you, Cody," she said softly, yet her voice carried authority. "And this is only the beginning." The courtroom erupted once more, a cacophony of gasps and murmurs. The judge banged his gavel to restore order, but the atmosphere remained electric, thick with tension. Hannah's evidence, her letter, the contracts, the bank records had been admitted. Everyone leaned forward, anticipating her next words. "I came here today because I refuse to be invisible anymore," she began, her voice cutting through the murmurs. One sentence, and the silence broke like a clap of thunder. Her gaze never wavered from Cody, slumped at the defense table, jaw tight, eyes burning with barely restrained fury. "For years I trusted him," she continued. "Promise, every verse, every manipulation framed as God's will. He told me I was chosen, part of something greater, but the truth, I was nothing more than a secret. Hidden so he could guard his image, his show, his empire." The jurors shifted uneasily. Each word hammered at the veneer Cody had carefully cultivated. Mary spoke quietly, venom threading her tone. "It's exactly what he does. Makes you feel special, then discards you." Christine's arms were folded, her face set in quiet fury. Janelle sat stiff, bristling with silent anger. Robin clutched a tissue, trembling, tears tracing down her cheeks. Hannah leaned into the microphone, her voice low, cutting deeper with every word. He left me with nothing, no money, no support, not even the decency to acknowledge me as his wife. He used me when it suited him and discarded me when it didn't. That is why I am here, to expose exactly who he is. Christine's attorney stood. Miss Hannah, when you say he left you with nothing, do you mean financially, emotionally, or both? Hannah laughed, a sharp, bitter sound. Both. He said he would take care of me, that I was his immortal partner. And yet, when I asked for the simplest support, he told me I was a mistake, something he could erase. Christine's voice rose in agreement, raw with indignation. That is precisely how he treated all of us. Promises when he wanted something. Silence when we needed him. Mary muttered, invisible. That's exactly how we felt. Janelle's voice, calm yet cutting, added. Now it makes sense why the stories never added up, why the money always vanished. Even Robin, previously loyal and vigilant, sat stone still, eyes wide as the last shred of trust slipped from her hands. Cody snapped, chair scraping violently as he leaped to his feet, bellowing, "This is character assassination." There, lying, "This is a witch hunt because I live differently." His fists pounded the table. The gavel slammed down, echoing through the room. "Mr. Brown, sit down. One more outburst and you will be held in contempt." Cody's face flushed red. His jaw clamped tight, but he obeyed, chest heaving, rage barely contained. Hannah continued, her voice rising with the intensity of years of suppressed truth. "These transfers Cody made me sign weren't just land deals or family planning, they were cover-ups. He shuffled money, concealed funds, made it impossible for the other wives to track a single cent." The gallery gasped. Christine whispered fiercely, "I knew it. He wasn't truthful about that land." Janelle's eyes narrowed. "Every time I asked about the accounts, he gave half answers. He wasn't confused. He was hiding it." The judge adjusted his glasses, studying the papers. Hannah's tone grew sharper, charged with anguish. "Do you know what it feels like to be erased? To be promised forever, then told you never existed? I spent years in silence, forced to believe I had to hide. And when I demanded recognition, he told me I was disposable." Her voice cracked for the first time. The courtroom fell silent. Even the press, desperate for headlines, sat motionless. Mary dabbed at her eyes. Janelle pressed her lips together. Christine seethed with silent fury. Robin wept openly, her tissues shredded in her trembling hands. Cody's sweat betrayed him, despite his stoic posture. And then Hannah revealed the most damning truth yet. Cody wasn't concealing just a single secret. He was concealing a pattern. "He told the same lies to each of us," she said, voice icy and precise. "The same promises, the same manipulations. I wasn't the first, I wasn't the last. I was simply assumed to remain silent." The jury nodded solemnly, understanding the methodical nature of his deception. Christine's voice rose again, no longer able to remain silent. He said, "The same to me, word for word. The eternal partner, God's plan repeated like a script." Mary whispered, horrified. "We weren't wives, we were pawns." Janelle's tone was low, cutting. "He thought he could outsmart all of us." Even Robin, voice trembling, added, "He said I was the last, the one he'd never betray." Her sobs shook the room. The judge leaned forward, voice somber. "Mr. Brown, these charges are serious. If verified, they indicate not just shattered relationships, but possible fraud, financial impropriety, deliberate deception. You would do well to remain silent and let your attorney speak." Cody scowled but remained mute. Then Robin, for the first time, spoke, her voice quivering but fierce. "You said I was the only one. You said I was your sole companion. Were you lying to me too?" The courtroom fell silent. Cody looked at her but did not respond. No denial, no apology. Only oppressive silence. Robin recoiled, pushing away, shaking. I trusted you. I defended you. And all along, you lied. Hannah snapped her folder shut. Your life was built on lies, Cody. Lies can't survive in the light. This is only the start. The judge banged his gavel. Court is adjourned until tomorrow. We will continue with financial testimony and document examination. Reporters erupted. Cameras clicked wildly. The gallery buzzed. Outside, headlines blazed. Secret fifth wife exposes Cody Brown millions hidden fraud alleged. Cody sat ashen, silent, powerless. The wives looked at each other, a new understanding passing between them. Hannah had pulled back the curtain, and the world had witnessed the collapse of his carefully constructed empire. She picked up her papers, walked past him, heels clicking on the floor. Close enough for the microphones, she whispered. The truth will kill you, Cody. Cody. And now? Everyone knows. The courtroom descended into pandemonium. Reporters yelled. Cameras flashed. Inside, the man who had commanded a polygamist empire now sat shattered. His world exposed, his lies unraveled beyond repair. Friends, this chapter closes here, but the story never truly ends. Every twist, every truth, every heartbreak shapes the journey of the Brown family in ways we are still uncovering. If you've stood with me through this tale, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Because the next revelation may be even more shocking than the last. Until we meet again, stay safe, stay kind, and remember truth always finds its way to the surface.